And we are back. You see it. What's going on, everybody? Your man Ron, my brother John here. What's going on, John? How you feeling, brother?
Oh man, relaxed, excited for today's show. It's gonna be awesome. We got great guests. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. We here. And I made it to another one, by the way.
That's what I'm talking about, man. You starting to really like the people gonna think you a mainstay again.
You know what I'm saying? You better cash some checks.
No,
yesterday's price ain't today's price.
Whoa, listen, we'll talk about it. I'm gonna have my guy call your guy because we got some things to talk about. Yeah, man, you guys know it's always a pleasure when I'm here to be able to do this with my brother John. You know, sometimes real life stuff happens and he's called away on assignment, but you know what, he always comes back to the fold because this is home base right here. So
that's right.
Appreciate you, brother. I'm glad to chop it up with you as always, and I too am extremely excited for our special guest today because it's wild to me, man. You know what I mean? Like when you watch somebody in that element and you're so used to that element, and I'm like, man, I can't tell you how many times that really I shouldn't be watching because he's on the tube and it's like a little late at night and he's going to these different spots. Obviously, where he's at, it's throughout the day, but we're watching it at night. And I'm like, oh man, I'm getting hungry. Oh no, it's like 12 o'clock at night. I'm like, oh, I'm getting hungry, man.
Where can I find good brisket at 2 in the morning?
What I mean? And I'm like, even if I find it, it ain't gonna be like what he's eating. The stuff he's eating and banana leaves and stuff on grills with fire, and it's like, oh my god, oh man, it's just mouth watering. I can't even tell you guys, man. Wait till you see our special guest, and you're probably gonna be familiar with who he is, but you may not be familiar with everything he's about. He's very versatile. He's into a lot of different things. And I think the other thing that you'll really enjoy about him is when we get into the second part of the show, his hip hop side of it, just the direction of what he's doing now and kind of how it's transitioned this way. It's not like overnight. This stuff and the way he cultivates different things has been happening for quite some time. Is really interesting. We'll talk about it because I find it like today's hip hop, I'm not the biggest fan of. You guys know I'm an old school cat. I love my 90s hip hop and 80s and all that good stuff. But
are you
this
saying you're
is
an old head?
Oh, I'm an old head, super old head. Like no, I ain't gonna say that because that's a pause joke. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Are you walking around showing your grades, bro?
Hey man, them grades is out and about at attention.
That's right. Wisdom.
Yeah, well, something. Yeah, man. So listen, guys, without further ado, we'll get it cracking. You guys know we like to give you a little did you know, because maybe you don't know, maybe I don't know. So we'll hit you with a did you know, and we'll be right back with our special guest. Ah, man, and thank you. Coming to the stage is Mr. Roger Mooking in the building, y'all. Salute, my brother. Appreciate you. Thank you for being here.
What's up, man?
Really, 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 man. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here, brother. Appreciate you so much.
Thanks for having me, man. Bless.
Yeah, man. So like I said, this is crazy, dope, really cool experience for me because being a person that has watched you and known of you as a chef and being on Man Fire Food and all that stuff and watching all these different places you've gone to eat all of these cultivated meats and stuff, pause, and really see all of this deliciousness that you're around. And I've seen you in so many different shows, like I've already kind of told you. Not just that, I've seen you on other shows and other shows. Like I've seen you all over. So it's really a really dope experience to have you here, and be able to chop it up a little bit with some NBA talk, and then we'll get into the hip hop talk, and that's where I think a lot of people will be very surprised at how immersed you've been into this hip hop game. And I would love to know. We're going to learn about your influences and stuff like that, and how you got to this point. But it's a really, I think it's going to be a really fun story for everybody. So thank you for being here once again.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's a bless, you know.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, guys. So you know how we like to start our show. We like to hit you with the first half and then the second half. So let's get it cracking. Yes. So this is the first half of the show. This is the NBA portion, guys. And look, man, this is a really exciting week. I know a lot of you are incredibly happy. NBA is back. It just started again on Tuesday, the regular season. So it's in full swing, and there's a lot going on. A lot of expectations for your favorite team or whatever team you like in the NBA. We're Knick fans on some of this side over here, but
You see that?
no, we ain't gonna hold that against you, brother. That's okay. That's all right, man. We know you got a good heart. That's all that matters.
Like Fight Dog said, blame the management, blame the head office.
Yeah, man. So let's get it cracking. You know how we like to hit you with the MBK news break. Let's go. Yes, the NBA is back, folks. We are back, baby. Now it's when the haters start to come out and start to reel their ugly head again, folks. So listen, man. Roger, I know that you are probably busy with a whole bunch of stuff going on in life, but um, what's your favorite team in the NBA?
I mean, I'm in Toronto, bro. So I gotta hold it down
Mhm,
for
mhm,
Toronto.
mhm, mhm,
Jurassic Park.
mhm.
We still hanging on to the Kawhi Leonard era. Still trying to milk that for all it's worth. My wife is dedicated Raptors fan. She doesn't miss a game. So, I gotta hold it down for the Raptors, man. It has to be done.
Wow, she doesn't miss a game,
She
really?
doesn't miss a game, dog. She's dedicated. She more dedicated than me, no joke.
Wow.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Listen,
Okay. All right. Man. So
you
she's
Yes,
definitely
pause. Yes,
excited.
pause.
I tell you what though, at least your team is a few years removed, where we, on the other hand, as Knicks fans, are like 30 plus years removed from
Right.
anything remotely close to a championship. So, you got us beat there.
Well, we're in a big rebuild right now. The whole team is basically unrecognizable at the moment from even last season. So there's a lot of changes.
Right.
So, we'll see how that coalesce.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to get used to that after you guys have had some really good success for the past couple years. That's I mean, I wish I could say I want that problem because I do, but we haven't had that problem yet. So at least not in my lifetime. Um yeah, man, but it is what it is. I
Yeah.
think Toronto is gonna be a pretty decent team still because for whatever reason they haven't done a complete rebuild as of yet. They still have some decent players. Now they may decide to move on from them, but they still got Siakam, they still got OG Anunoby, and some other players over there that can still play some decent basketballs. They'll be all right. They'll be teeter tottering somewhere. But let me tell you something. if they somehow catch some fire under their belt and make a run, oh man, people ain't gonna live that down. You mean this team is getting rid of their players and they still kicking butt?
And they
You know,
still
that's
waxing. Yeah, they still
yeah, yeah, that ain't gonna work, bro. That ain't gonna be good, man.
Well, it'll be good for Toronto, but not
Yeah,
for
it'd be great for
anywhere else.
Toronto.
Yo, Toronto went buck wild because facts, right? Canada traditionally is really a really hockey centric kind
Hockey.
of place. Like the Toronto Maple
Yeah.
Leafs really
Yeah.
lock down Toronto, right? But when it comes to like our communities and like brown people,
Mhm.
the Raptors show out. Like the stadium changes on Raptors
Mhm.
games. You know, like there's a stall in there that sells doubles and roti and stuff. On the
Mm.
Leaf games night, they don't sell a lot of them. On the Raptors night, they selling out. So
Wow.
it's a
Wow.
really interesting scene, man, for sure. You know.
That's
Wow.
what's up.
That's dope. I mean, I wish they had that over here. I get some roti.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, always comes back to food, Raja. I
Brings
don't know
people
how we
brings
got
people
here.
back in.
I love it.
Absolutely,
I
man.
love it. Um, yeah, man. But you know, that's pretty good. And I'm sure a lot of you out there who, whatever your favorite team is, a lot of us in here are Nick fans. That's just always going to be the case. But I'm sure there's going to be some Brooklyn Net fans that are happy that their team is back up and playing again. They got some expectations, the Macau Bridges and all that stuff. But speaking of expectations, um, I think we should kind of touch on some expectations because you know what, we all got them, and so let's go here. Let me start with you,
Mm.
John.
Okay.
What are your expectations for the Eastern Conference this year? Like who do you think is going to be the tough team, the risers that are going to run away with stuff? And maybe even you can even talk about, because you know a little more well versed, who you think is going to have, you know, a bad year in the Eastern Conference too,
Wow. And that's gonna
or a
be
tough
tough.
year.
Yeah, I mean, a tough year. I'm gonna look at Charlotte. I mean, we all know that they're coming off of what
Mm,
could have been a potential playoff run, and with everything that went on in Charlotte the last couple of years, or actually last year, really, they aren't the same team that they were
mhm.
when they had a full squad with Miles Bridges and a healthy, ball. What's the young man's name? I'm thinking
LaMelo.
Lonzo Lamelo
LaMelo.
Ball. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
that's not going to be the yeah, and like it's different when he's gonna come back this year, and I think he's gonna be solid. So is Rozier, but I don't know if they're gonna have the firepower to be what they once was when they had Miles. And it's gonna be a tough year for them. I think for them, it's really trying to figure out how they're gonna rebuild over there in Charlotte, amongst other things that are happening with that organization. Um, I see the surprise team being the Pacers. I think the Pacers.
Mhm.
I think they're gonna come. Matherin's second year, Obi coming over from the Knicks. I think with Halliburton running the floor, they're gonna be a sort of high octane offense. So I see them as a surprise team, as well as Orlando. That's the other team who I'm looking to see. Come sort of shift the paradigm in the East. Um, as far as your normal teams, your more Milwaukee Bucks, you're gonna have the Celtics, and somewhere around 3 or 4, I expect our Knicks to be there. I don't think that's gonna come as a surprise for us this year, but I really do think that we're gonna be 3 and 4. Now, there's some other teams out there like Toronto and the 76ers and who else? Who else could I put up in there? That they just gonna feel like they're gonna be able to, or Cleveland Cavaliers, they feel like they're gonna probably overtake that third, fourth position. But I think the Knicks have enough firepower this year to just make a run, and surprise some naysayers, I should say. I don't think Knicks fans are going to be surprised by it, but I think folks around the NBA may be surprised about the Knicks being a top tier team in the East. Now, if they fall to eighth, I'll be depressed. I'll be saddened because that's not the trajectory we should be going towards. But this is where we at. That's why we're in the start of the season. You know,
Are you just
we
trying to
have to
be
believe in our
optimistic,
team.
or is that real talk guessing, like for real?
Yeah, I mean it's optimistic, but it's also relatively the same from last year. Like we made it to fifth last year, right? We were the fifth
Fifth,
seed
yeah,
last
yeah,
year,
fifth.
and we overcame the Cleveland Cavaliers. The way I'm looking at it is that we'll catch some teams early on in the season because a lot of teams aren't prepared to start the season, and I think our team, because we've already have our team for quite some time, for about 2 years together, I think we're going to gel quickly. And no pun intended, but I think we're going to be right there.
I see what
All
you did
right,
there, John.
I'll hold you to that.
Yeah, yeah. I would dare to agree with a lot of what you said there. Yeah, I think the Charlotte's definitely going to struggle. I think they're my team that's going to struggle the most. Um, ah, yeah, and then the teams at the top, the Boston's, the Milwaukee's. I think they're going to be right there. Knicks are going to be
Miami.
somewhere in that. Miami. Here's my thing. Miami surprised everybody last year because they didn't come out the gate playing well. And then they turned it on towards the end. And in the playoffs, we saw what they did. They made it all the way to the final. So uh, it's kind of they put themselves exactly where we thought they had a chance to be if they played well. But I kind of think they did it. They took advantage
I think
of
we're going to do
what
it
the
again this year.
opportunities were. I
I
don't
think it's going to
know,
be a little bit
man.
of the same this year because they're the sort of team they don't really put it all in the line during the regular season. They do enough to get in, and then they make noise in the playoffs.
You know what I think? This is where I think it is the difference. I don't think Miami's gonna make the playoffs.
Oh,
There,
I
I
don't know
said
about
it. Yeah,
that.
that's it. Show over, I did it. I said it.
Grimy,
That's it.
just grimy.
I said it. That's it. I don't think Miami's gonna make the play. I think other teams are gonna. I think people keep having other teams step up when it comes to the Knicks. Oh yeah, the Knicks got to worry about this team. Why doesn't Miami have to worry about it? So I think Orlando's going to be
Yeah,
better. I think Indiana is going to be a team that you're going to have to watch. I think that Detroit might get it together and might fight for a play in. So I think there's some teams that might make it interesting. I'm just saying. But don't forget, there's other teams that drop down. Brooklyn's there's this. The
How you
Bulls
can hate
might
on Brooklyn and you're
resurface.
from Brooklyn?
Oh, well, I can't. Brooklyn is
yeah,
who?
we can't do
What?
that. We
No,
can't
no,
do
no.
that.
I live here. I was
Mm,
here before Brooklyn.
mm-mm.
No, I don't know about that
Yeah,
team. I'm sorry.
listen,
I can't do it.
they're formerly known as New Jersey. You can't rock with
Yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah.
It's not real. There's no
Yeah,
substance
yeah.
there.
I wouldn't
It's
do that to
it's really
myself or
not.
to anyone.
It's not a thing. It really isn't. For anyone who was born and bred in Brooklyn,
Go down
it's
to
not a
Barclays
thing.
and talk that. Go down to Barclays and talk that,
Oh,
bro.
I talk it all the time. I'm up the block
Yeah, man. We'll
all
stand
the
up in front of
time.
in front of the arena. Yeah, you guys suck. Yeah,
Megaphone,
all.
megaphone.
Easy.
Go with a megaphone.
I'm telling you, easy. And they won't say nothing or do nothing. It's easy.
But in fairness, because this is the NBA wrap up, this is not our Knicks show. Hey,
Yeah.
Brooklyn, we rock with you. Yeah, you know what I
Nah,
mean.
nah,
You know what
nah,
He's back.
eh,
He's back.
eh.
He's Jay
I
Z and everything. He's like, he's back. He's back.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, we
Yeah,
know what
man.
Jay Z was there for. He did what he got to
Yeah,
do. He's a
yeah.
businessman.
That's right. That's right. Um, what do you I know you don't watch as much as maybe you did in at a different time. What do you think from is anything that stands out to you, Roger? Like anything you heard that makes you think, and this is why I want to ask this question, because you are someone that maybe doesn't have a chance to follow along the way you used to at some point, even though your wife does. Um,
Mhm.
just from passing, what's led you to believe in any certain team in the Eastern Conference? Like if you had to pick the team that you would be worried about that's going to look really good in the East, who do you think that might be?
Okay, so like I think Giannis and the Bucks. I think Giannis
Mm,
is just such a from what I see, right? Giannis
mhm,
is just such an earnest, true leader, and just
mhm,
of course spectacular. He's a superstar, all of that stuff. He crush you in so many different ways. But he just stays so humble, man. And you got to look out for those people who just kind of just stay on the low and keep to themselves, and then they come out and they just smash you, you know.
mhm,
And
mhm,
Right.
then the team kind of rallies around people like that because there's so little ego that they feel it's like, yo, if he's doing that, then I can step up and do this too. And that spirit really catches, you know? And I
Mm-hmm.
think in a lot of those smaller markets, no disrespect to Milwaukee, but like, you know, it's not a New York market or LA,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's one of the smaller markets. The teams really, the fans really rally around the teams when they start to get some momentum and the whole city just formulates. You know, that's what happened around Toronto, man. Like Toronto, you know, people were with the Raptors and stuff, but when they started making that run a few years ago and we won, remember that when we won the championship? Remember that? Remember that,
Yeah,
right?
it wasn't too long ago.
We were making that run. Yo, the whole of Canada was behind it. And it
Yeah,
was
it
the
was rocking.
movement was just so intense, man. So I think like a combination of those things, they've had a minute to coalesce their team. And you know, my wife is telling me they just made some big trade and got somebody that's just gonna make them unstoppable. There's some big trade that just happened with the Bucks, right? Am I
Oh, they
correct?
got
Oh yeah,
Damian
Damian
Lillard from
Lillard.
Portland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Damian.
Yeah, yeah,
Dame
exactly. So
Dallas.
like that just makes it even stupider, you know. So
Mm.
from what I see, it again, I'm no NBA aficionado, but I kind of like the spirit of Giannis. You know, the spirit of Giannis, I think, is very powerful, and in a city like that, this that underdog spirit just it's really has a lot of momentum, man.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
it's good betting
Yeah, well
odds,
done.
by the way. It's good betting odds.
That's good
Picking
betting odds.
Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
definitely like up there with the. I would say they're probably ranked number one outside of the Nuggets to possibly win it all.
To
So
possibly win. And
yeah,
that Boston will
Yeah.
creep up on you too. You know, that, like Boston did some creeper shit to us in Toronto last year, man.
mm,
Like, you know,
Mm. Mm.
Boston is dangerous too, man. You know, it's
yeah,
frightening, man.
And they've made some nice acquisitions this offseason, picking up Kristaps Porzingis and picking up Drew Holiday from Milwaukee. So
Oh
yeah.
wow. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
holiday's devastating, man. He just
hmm
what that guy just he kind of like a
Yeah.
silent killer too. He just kind of do that and then bam, he just fuck
yeah.
you up.
Yeah, yeah.
You're right.
Hey, he's tough. He's tough, and he plays really good defense too. So yeah, they're gonna be rough. That's why I think probably I would say Milwaukee's number two, but they could be number one
You
depending
got
on how
Boston,
things play out. I
Milwaukee.
got Boston number one, bro. I don't know,
I got
man.
Milwaukee number one.
Now the only thing is, it's if Boston is healthy. If
Right.
healthy, yeah, but I don't know, man. Kristaps looked good the other day. I'm just saying.
Yo, I can't
saying.
True.
see a game in Boston or see a Boston uniform and not think of House of Pain, bro. Like every like
Right.
it's every
Right,
single time I
right.
see them, the uniform, the stadium, like a court,
Not to mention
every
they play. I'm sure they play the music. I'm sure they play it during
Oh
the
yeah, of
breaks.
course, of
sure they
course.
have to, dog. Yeah, have to.
Yeah, it's always got to be that thing.
Anyways,
So yeah, I mean that's like kind of expectations for the Eastern Conference, but we got to be fair here. If we're gonna do the East, got to do the West. You know what I mean? So, John, once again, expectations for the Western Conference. Who do you think is going to be the leader of the pack? Who's going to be the struggling team that's at the bottom? And if you want to do like what you did, throwing Indiana in there, like the middle of the pack team that's a riser, that's coming out of nowhere. You had a team like that in the West?
I don't. Well, I'll say this: you got to beat the champions to be the champ, right? So I'm going with Denver again this
Okay.
year. You can never discount a Warriors team, or a Lakers team with LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the biggest threat to me, or the team that, and I don't even think they're a dark horse anymore. I think they're just up and rising, is the OKC Thunder. Everything that they've built out there, with Shea Gilchrist, and they did a great job last year getting into the playoffs and making us, stamping themselves as a playoff perennial team. I think they're going to be in the mix. I think they'll surprise some teams this year in the playoffs. I expect them to get past the first round. Um, as far as a sort of low end team, I don't really see. any teams like Houston making the jump. I think everybody's going to stay put where they're at. Um, Phoenix is going to be in the mix. Just the teams that we normally see in the mix are going to be in the mix, and um, the Pelicans may not qualify again this year. They were just in the sort of like outskirts of making the playoffs. So I think it remains the same in the West with the Nuggets leading the pack.
Interesting, John. Interesting. Like I kind of think that you might be on to something here, sir. You might be on to something. I'm actually gonna say uh something totally different from what you said. I
Okay.
think Denver is the team you gotta beat. You know what I mean? Because they're the champions, and to beat no, I'm just messing with you.
I was about to say, wait, what? You
No,
ain't hear me though?
nah, I agree with you 100%. I think Denver is the team to beat. They got Jokic. The Joker is killing, and that dude's a beast. So I'm not gonna count them out. Even though I know a lot of people are starting to lean towards Phoenix because Phoenix has Bradley Beal, Devin Booker,
Hmm.
and Kevin Durant over there now. So people are kind of thinking they're the front runners. I'm still going with Denver. So I
Yeah.
think Denver is the team to watch. I think maybe Phoenix is a number two. Golden State maybe a close three. But team that you can't count out is Sacramento. But I think as far as middling of the pack, a team that might be a riser, finally, Oklahoma City Thunder. I think they might be ready to kind of make that move. And as far as a team that I think is going to struggle being like that basement, that cellar dweller, you know, I think that's going to be the Utah Jazz. I think the Utah Jazz Cinderella story that we saw last year, they started off the season
Yeah,
they started off
marketing
the
and
season. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen this time around. I think as the season, that was one of those things we're all like, "Oh my god, what's going on with Utah? Why are they playing so good?" And then as the end of
right.
the season hit us, they were like, "Oh, Utah is not even.
Where are they?
Where are they?" So yeah,
Karl Malone gonna
I
come
think
up
it's
with
going to happen
big
again,
trucks,
man.
bro. And
Say
Yeah,
that again.
Karl Malone gonna come creep up in one of them big semi trucks.
Oh,
Real throwback
yeah.
shit.
I think that they're just not they're not really they haven't done enough for me to say that they're going to be good this year. They may struggle a little bit. So, Roger, I know once again it's just more of like because I like this because it's almost like as fans of teams, we always have this perception of okay, our team is this. We know this. They're not looking at us. I like to understand what someone who hasn't had a lot of time
bro,
to see
I
what's
said we're
going on
gonna
in the
be
NBA.
three. What makes you think? Come on, we're delirious.
No,
Come on,
well,
we're
not us.
delusional.
I know, not us. Yeah, we got no. Wait, listen, we've thrown caution to the wind. We not.
Yeah.
We, what? Are you kidding me?
Some of our fans out here talk about championship, and I'm like, whoa. But yeah, delusional Nick
It,
fans.
it's wild times right now. It's okay, but we gonna be somewhere. I don't know where, but we gonna be somewhere. If you had to guess, because of what I mentioned maybe already, who do you think might be the tough team in the West? That might be the team that might face Milwaukee, like you said in the East in the
Okay,
finals.
so let's Denver, all that stuff. Okay, I can see what you're saying from what I know about it. But here's some like psychology, right? Human psychology.
Mm,
I don't think you can count out LeBron in this moment. You got to
mm,
realize something, right?
mm.
He is in like one of the greatest debates for GOAT status. He been around a hot minute now. Clearly, he's towards the end of his career cycle, right?
Right,
There's less years he's going to be playing than the amount of years he's played already. Clearly, right?
right.
But I think right now in the off season, LeBron was training harder than he ever trained in his life. I'm confident of that. He's coming for people's heads in these last few years of his career. And he wants to come and play with his son. And if he actually happens to get a chance to play with his son, little Bronny, he's going to be even more on fire because he's going to be trying to outplay his son on top of trying to outplay everybody in the league, right? So I think the way he might, if I look at the psychology of it, the motivation of it, what's that drive to keep moving? I don't think you can underestimate the will, the drive, the desire, and the kind of legacy he wants to build for himself and to set up his family, right? So I
Mm.
don't think you can underestimate that from a human psychology standpoint. Clearly, he's a leader, and he got something to show. He wants to try and dead the goat conversation, make it undeniable. So I think although the surrounding players and his performance in the last season and all that stuff um, may debate that or negate that, don't underestimate a true tiger like that, man. He's a lion in the jungle.
That's very interesting. Look at Roger Mooking. Look,
Yeah.
I'm thinking, he ain't really paying attention. This man's paying attention, y'all.
No, no,
He's dropping a
he's a
truth
savant.
bomb on us
He,
here.
he's a savant. He understands.
I like that. Okay, okay.
Now,
That
I
is
could dig
actually
it.
that's very interesting. That's very
Listen,
interesting. And
I could dig
there's
it.
some rationale there.
No,
Yeah,
That's
there
well,
is.
he's
I'm
interesting.
not
he's coming for people's head, whether he's gonna take them off or not. But
right.
he's gonna be coming for heads, goat status, and to set up his son. That's
Yeah,
harder than ever. I mean, if I know anything about LeBron from what I've seen, he got that winning spirit, bro, in all ways, shapes, and forms. And like I said, he's a lion in the jungle.
right. Yeah, for me, I think that this for
Yeah.
me it's all dependent on the team because he has it. It's really, does AD have it? Does he have enough in his tank to be that 1-2 punch? Because they're gonna need someone else to help to get him
Of course.
to that GOAT status. Like GOAT status is one thing you can do, have all the personal accolades, and he has most of them. The
Yeah.
key is the rings, and it's hard to win a championship by yourself. And that's really
Yeah.
the only thing that's going to hold him. And if he's able to play with Bronny, that's going to be awesome because he's going to go even harder when he's on the court because you
Exactly.
said
He's gonna go
there's
even
that
harder.
competition, and then the whole thought of if I could win one with my son, first time ever,
Imagine. That's what I'm
yeah,
saying, dog.
that's
That's what
magical,
he's
right?
living for, right? Like
Yeah,
imagine. That's like unprecedented.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm with you there. You may have to
That's a
trade
crazy.
AD though. They may have to trade AD to get there because
Mm.
I don't know.
Listen,
AD,
LA, they got no shortage of resources out in LA to make things
right,
happen, power control, make the power moves and stuff like that. And if they know that LeBron is towards the end of his playing cycle like that, and they want to help him be GOAT status,
right.
I think that they'll do what's necessary to try and make that happen in the short term, right?
Yeah, I'm
Mm.
with you there. I can see that. Rob Palinka's come out of nowhere to pull out some deals recently. So, like their squad right now, they're kind of squad up already. It's just depending on the health of the team and the players that are surrounding LeBron. Can they stay healthy? Can they be efficient enough to make that run in the playoffs? Because like last year was sort of a fluke. They didn't play that many games together. You know what I mean? And then when they got healthy, they just got into the playoffs, and then they rode a little bit of a wave. But yeah, I could see that. I could see that. I don't see them falling so far down this year, especially with the because I think the NBA is sort of fixated on this
Mm-hmm.
having this tournament early on, so that players have initiatives to play in games versus resting. And so I think that's going to help the Lakers because then they could get gelling early and they won't be resting a lot of their players. So I think
Mhm. Love
you
that.
know
Love
they'll
it.
they'll be right there. I think they'll be in the mix. I still have Denver right now because you got to prove it to me. Like especially with Durant and Phoenix, I'm not counting them in until they
And
show and
Durant's
prove.
fully healthy back. He's fully healthy.
So they
Right.
say.
So they say, right? So they say.
I
Ain't
mean,
that
listen, that's
say?
interesting. Like,
Listen,
I
I
don't
love
know.
Kevin Durant. No disrespect, man. He's
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna be tough. They're gonna be
Well,
tough. But that's interesting though. I ain't gonna knock it because Roger might be onto something there. That's there's a lot of motivation there. That's a different level of motivation,
it's a
especially when
different
he,
level of
yeah,
motivation when you bring the
very
kids, no
interesting.
trust.
Very interesting. And it's not like the Lakers, let's not forget, guys, Lakers got knocked out by Denver. So it's not like they were in the mix. So
mhm.
yeah, the West is funky and a good team with savvy veterans, with a superstar type player who knows how to play when it's the time to play. We already talked about John's been talking about Miami, how Miami loves to turn it on when it matters in the playoffs. The
Right.
Lakers are the same way. And I would say Golden State, you could throw them in there too. Like,
Right.
yeah, those are dangerous teams. It's true. It's
You
true.
just got to get in, and once you're
You just,
in,
just got to get in. Yeah.
right?
Wow. All right, guys. Listen, man. I think that is kind of a good starting point for us this season with the NBA side of things. The expectations for the East. You heard it here first. The expectations for the West. You get it. You know, it's different. It's not necessarily what everybody is going to be saying, but in the end, everybody may be surprised because LeBron may have the last laugh. So
Right.
I'm actually kind of. I wasn't even thinking about that, but you know what? I counted them out last year, and they proved me wrong.
You
So,
can't
and their
count that
team is
guy
not.
out,
It's
man.
not
You
worse.
just can't count him out.
You can't.
It's not worse. And
Instinct.
yeah, and you know what? Let me do this to kind of lend, and this is another reason why I'm thinking about it because I remember. Let me do this real quick before we move on to the second half of the show to lend to Roger's point, um, because the Lakers roster. Let me tell you guys, it ain't
There's a
bad.
few.
It ain't
Mm-hmm.
bad. Let me look at this real quick. Let's see who they got here. All right, so they got Anthony Davis. We knew that. Rui Hachimura, who played very well down the stretch last year and showed what he can do. We like that. Obviously, they got LeBron James. They still got Scottie Pippen Jr. somewhere over there. I'm not going to count him really, but he's on the team. They got Torian Prince, who knows how to play ball, a solid veteran. Austin Reeves, who stepped up and turned out to be an incredible surprise. That's a diamond in the rough type guy right there. Um, they've got D'Angelo Russell. They've
Solid point
got,
guard.
yes, solid point. They've got Jared Vanderbilt. We already talked about how he's one of those players that any team could use because he's like a Swiss Army knife, can knock down the three, can slash to the rim, plays really strong defense.
It's a good
So he's a
motor.
good player, really good motor. And they got some of the same cast of young characters they had from last year, Jackson Hayes, guys like that. But here's where it gets important. It's interesting. They added Gabe Vincent. You guys remember Gabe Vincent was very
Right.
important in Miami's run through the playoffs to get to the finals last year. He had some really strong moments for Miami, and now he's with the Lakers. Oh, let's not forget they also picked up Christian Wood. So I don't know, man. Lakers might be in
They
the
got
mix.
some.
Lakers might be in the mix.
Might be in the
Right.
mix.
So
Don't never
yeah,
underestimate the motivation of a killer, bro.
Right.
yeah, man. I'm starting to see it. I'm seeing what you're talking about here. Okay. All right, guys. Listen, so watch out for them Lakers. You heard it here. And if it comes to fruition, remember where you heard it and remember who said it. Roger Mookin came out here and made the proclamation. So let's go. All right, man. Guys, you know what time it is. It's you know how we do, man.
My favorite time of the show.
It's time to get to the second half of the show. Let's go. All right, guys. So listen, man. Once again, we are joined by the great Mr. Roger Mooking. You may not know him for what we're about to get into, but some people do know him because this is not no fly by night, overnight thing. He's been in the game for a minute. Yeah, but a lot of people know him from him chefing it up, being all tight on all types of popular cooking shows on the Cooking Channel, Food Network, wherever you find food. Roger is somewhere in the building. You may not see him all the time, but he's around. So what I stumbled upon, and I don't know, like I'm not one of those. I'm not a big social media guy. I think I've been much more because of the shows we do now. So I'm paying attention to stuff I normally wouldn't pay attention to, but it's making me be more social. Get on Instagram and look around. I'm looking around and I'm stumbling and I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm talking about hip hop and I'm like, look at, and I'm like, I hit something and I'm like hearing somebody rap. Okay, and I'm just listening. I'm doing something and I look up. What?
The hell just happened?
That man fire food? What? And I'm like, yo, it's Roger. And I'm like, he's rapping, and I'm like, and he's killing it. And I'm like, what? I was tripping because I understand, like, one thing I've noticed in life is that you never know a person's talent. You meet them and they show you who they are in that capacity, but you never know the true extent of someone's talent or their abilities. So I can't be that surprised, but I was surprised because I just it was hit me out of nowhere.
Mm.
So and yeah, and I was like, I gotta get Roger on the show. So we reached out and we made it happen, and he's here with us today. But Roger, I just wanted to get you to talk about hip hop and your influence and how you got started. There's so many different questions. Let's start with this. What influenced you growing up in regards to hip hop? Like, what is there any artists, anybody you looked up to? What
Well,
kind of
I have an
got you
older
into the mode
brother,
of hip
right?
hop?
And my brother
Uh-huh.
was a DJ, like in
Oh.
the 80s. And he used to break dance and like they had crews. They were always practicing in my basement. My brother was DJ collecting records. So we were always catching all the records from New York, right?
Hmm.
So and they'd be practicing, and like I'm a younger brother, I'm 5 years younger than him. You want to like be cool with your older brother type of thing and get down. So I'd start dancing and messing around and blah blah blah, messing with the records and peeping them, and then I started picking up on the records, and rapping with them and stuff. I'm like, man, I could do this. First record I learned word for word was Nucleus Jam on it, right? And so I was
That
like,
was
man,
my jam.
this. So I started writing raps and do my little thing. I used to call myself Kid Crazy back then, right? And
Nice.
Okay.
made myself a little like logo, like graffiti logo thing, all the joint like that. But really, it started out just trying to get down with my brother and his crew, and they were hot, and so that was cool. And then I started rapping, and people said I was good at it. I'd go to like the ciphers where I grew up. There was like every Tuesday there'd be the cheap movies at the mall.
Hmm.
So half price Tuesdays. So everybody
Mm,
used to flock to the movies on Tuesdays, and there'd always be ciphers at the mall. And so,
mm,
I'd be running through the ciphers and stuff like that. And next thing you know, I'm making records with this group that I formed, and then we put out these videos, and these videos blew up in Canada. Then we started to get asked to do like award shows, and be nominated for awards and all these TV things, and we started doing a bunch of that stuff, and yeah, so I just kind of came up in it, like, with the birth, kind of like with the birth of the golden era of it. And I just fell in love, man. It was speaking my language. The people look like me. Chuck D was teaching me how to be a man. Ice T was teaching us all kinds of things, how to be a man as
How,
well.
how
There's
to
so
pimp.
many positivity and fun and partying and how to get girls and all
Yeah.
that, right? So I really just it just resonated with me, man, and I just kept doing it. Still here, just keep doing it, man.
That's super dope.
wow. Wow. Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, I agree with you.
See,
Man.
that's the thing. He grew up in it. You grew up in it. You grew up in the heyday. You grew
Yeah,
up in it. There was
that's what
nothing else.
grew me,
Right.
yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
man. It
And the
raised me.
same with us.
Hip hop raised me.
Same with us. Like I couldn't recall a day. I think the first song I ever heard was Peter Piper, Run
Oof.
DMC, and I was at a track meet, and I wasn't even good at track, but I was there for summer camp. Right, I was never a track runner or anything like that. Actually, I'm one of the slowest people you will ever meet. Right, when it comes to running,
Yeah.
but I'm solid basketball player. But so it was always a weird thing. But I remember sitting at a track meet, and I'm like, I don't know why I'm here. And then all of a sudden, I hear on the radio, just out to the side, Peter Pitt rapper, blah, blah, blah.
People.
And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, what is that? And I'm like, oh my! And then I think it may have been like because right after that it was my Adidas, and they must have switched. You know what I mean? The cassette tape. Maybe it was like part of the single or something like that. I don't know,
Mm.
but I was bugging from that moment on. And then after that, I got hooked on Houdini, and I was like, "What? What is this?" And they couldn't tell me that because I ran out and bought the big, you know what I mean, the one single, and I was like, and walking around with it out in the street, everybody like, "Oh, you got Houdini," and then everybody was like wanting to hear it. It was different back then, man. Different.
It's a magical
Yeah.
time, it's like birthing a new thing. Like nobody knew what it was, how it was. It was just forming itself. It was like amoebas in a pond and turning into like a creature, now look, it's a monster, man.
So, okay, I understand that you just grew up in it, and it kind of spiraled, and then with your big brother and trying to kind of connect with him and be cool. And so, how did you develop your? Well, I mean, I'm assuming that probably you can go into that at some point. Maybe it's changed over the years, but how did you initially develop your style?
I mean, it changed a lot over the years. How did I develop a style? At first, like a lot of artists, you start emulating artists that you like, and kind of mimicking that feeling, that flow, the voice. And then after a while, you're like, well, that's not my voice. I'm doing, and that's kind of like the practice. It's like when you're a painter or you draw or an animator, you start out like, oh, that's Charlie Brown. Let me learn how to draw Charlie Brown. That kind of thing. And then before you know it, you start to develop your own style, and then you do your own thing, right? So that like a lot of artists just kind of came up with emulating that kind of stuff. And then over time, you start to kind of morph and understand what you're about and what you want to talk about and what your life experience is, because everybody's life experience is so dynamic and unique. And really trying to really realizing that, unbeknownst, like without being academic about it, I realized that making the art was just a way for me to deal with my own personal demons and my own things in my life. You know what I mean? And I just thought I was just rapping, having fun. But then when I look back at it now, it's like, oh man, I remember I said that. That's because of this now. You start to piece together stuff. And then you realize over time, it's like, oh yeah, this I do this because I need to do this.
It's
This is why
therapy.
I still do this,
Right.
man. I need to do this for this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just kind of dove further and deeper into that. And dare I say, now where I'm at, I'm even deeper and ever into that kind of mindset, because I realize the value that it is for me, and just kind of coping with every day to day things,
Wow. Yeah,
And
that's
everybody's
dope.
experience is different. So if you really dive in and formulating your craft from that place, everybody's gonna be different.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's gonna have their own style or their own feel, because
Mm-hmm.
everybody's experiences are different, and everybody's coping mechanisms around those things are different. So
100%. Wow. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think that's a lot of people with regards to when they really dive into something. Um especially when you've shown the ability to be good at doing it, you start to look at, well, why am I good at doing this? I mean, I know I can do this. Why am I good at doing this as well? I mean, you just could be multi-talented, or there could be an underlying issue that drives you, that makes you need, like, you need to do this because it helps you, like what you said, it lends to this, right? And then you start to say, oh wow, this is powerful. Yeah, I got to keep doing this. And yeah, and then it also kind of shows you who you are as a person, because a
absolutely.
dynamic personality, dynamic mentality, put that all out there. And I think that's why we're so enamored by people who are artists in any capacity, whether you're a chef, whether you're a painter, whether you're a musician, or a athlete, like all these different things that people are able to do and do well. We're just enamored at how easy it comes to them. But that it's just a lot. It's a lot of, it has to do with the person's makeup and what that person gets out of what they're doing, how they look at it, as opposed to how you look at it. And then maybe that's the reason why you're not as good as they are. So it's always interesting to see that.
Yeah, now I'm at a place where, like, if you go back and listen to my catalog of solo albums, this is like I'm now releasing like my sixth solo album, I think it is, right? And if you look at the catalog of those things, they're all very different, like completely different albums. The
Mm,
instrumentation, the music, the production, how I use my voice, the flows are like very, very different, because I've been making these solo records since like 2009 now, right? So
wow.
I really just go in the studio and make my mood that day. How do I feel that day? And I'm mostly, me and my partner do the production, but I mostly go in and sit down at the piano, or pick up a bass, or I might sing a bass line to my partner, or a drum groove, and I go in the studio every day and I make my mood, you know, like really, like how
Wow.
do I feel today? And I make that, you know, where some people go in the studio, it's like, oh, we need to make a song that's gonna go on Hot
Mm,
97 between 8 and
Right.
9 o'clock, and we're gonna put this person on the hook to leverage their audience.
mm.
I'm not strategic like that at all, bro. I
Right.
just
Mm.
make my feelings, you know,
It's more
and
of a coming from a
feelings in
genuine,
the purest art.
yeah, it's more coming from a genuine place, the way you approach your artistry, it's like,
It's really for this, man. It's really I
yeah,
realize this is for this.
it's all about therapy for the heart, for the mind, for the soul. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I think it's extremely important, and it keeps you grounded too, because that's the most important thing with everything that goes on in the world, and what goes around us, and in the news cycle. Sometimes we can get pulled away from our everyday struggle or what we're dealing with day to day, and we always got to keep that in mind. And I think you hit it spot on. It's like I got to mainly focus on keeping me, locked in, yourself locked in, and mentally stable and ready to just share with the world what your experiences are. And that's super
Yeah,
dope.
because I gotta execute a lot of things. You know, sometimes a TV show. You know, sometimes I'm designing a restaurant or running the restaurant I got in the airport, or I'm like I drew this building that I built this building that we do like retreats at, or I'm working on
Mm.
painting. I've been doing books and writing stories, and you know, my professional creative load is is heavy. Like the output is heavy. And so
Mm.
as a creative person, the input has to be tenfold what the output is. And so it's about just living in those moments and absorbing them and observing your surroundings to be able to kind of fill the ammunition. So when you get into the place where you can put it down, that you can put it down. But really, it's like all of these different things that I'm doing, it's very easy to like have a scattered mind frame, you know. So this is the kind of thing that ground one of the things that just ground me in place, you know, and this very, very consistent thing in my life from a teenager.
Wow. That's dope. Yeah, man, that's incredible. Wow. I'm always just, I said it already, but I'm always enamored in awe of just running into people that have, some type of creative, because I call it creative genius, whether or not they believe it's genius or not. Just the ability to conceptualize and put them on paper in certain ways, or execute something like, designing a building, for example. Like it's like it's unfathomable to me as a person. I'm one of those people. I walk into an empty apartment. I don't see it. Like,
Yeah, you don't see
where
it.
my couch gonna go? Like, so yeah, I really think that's really dope. But it's not, and I like the fact that you understand a lot about yourself, and you're channeling a lot of that stuff that you have inside and putting it out there in different avenues. So it's really cool that you're able to do that and understand that about yourself, because a lot of people don't even know what they're good at. you know Takes you to a certain point in life that if you're lucky enough to figure out what you're good at, and some people never find out what they're good at, and they're
Yeah,
just
I feel very
wandering through
lucky about
life.
that, man. Very, very
Yeah.
fortunate about that. And you know what you say about people not understanding yourself. I come to understand myself by sitting in the studio making art, writing stories. Like, uh, I taught myself about myself. You know what
uh
I mean?
right,
Just by
right.
going through the motions of it, you know, and really like focusing on that and that mindset and how I interact in the world with other people, because you know music is about also other people. You know, the listener is the final musician. That's how I look at it. The listener is the final musician, because how your ear is tuned to listen to a thing is like how the bass player will tune, or the fatness of one bass player's fingers over another is going to be a different feel. So that interaction with your ears is the final instrument, right? So
Mm,
when you rope other people into it, then it becomes a relationship between what how you understand about yourself and how they understand about you and how you understand with them, and it's that
mm-hmm,
interaction, and understanding that interaction also helps you to understand what you are in the world. You know what I mean? So really, through the art, man. Again, it's magic, man. It's magic. Music. is mesmerizing to me more now than it was like 30 years ago. You think about music, right? It has no form, no shape. You can't touch it. You can't feel it like a watermelon, for instance. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? But it impacts you on every level, your physiology, your psychology, the way you feel. Like you put on an MOP is a different feeling than you put on Sade. Like your mood
Right.
is
Of
going to
course.
be
Yeah.
different, bro. Right?
Yeah, you don't
So
want to see Ron around some MOP. I'm just saying.
but you know what I mean, right? So it's like this
Right.
magical thing that has such an impact on humans and our physiology and our psychology, but it has no physical form. It's actually magic, bro. It
Right.
mesmerizes me more now than ever.
It's true. I mean, yeah, it's 100% true. It definitely music is. If you notice, like just every time people get bored, they put up these polls. One gotta go. You know what I mean?
Mm,
But keep in mind, they always try to get rid of a certain artist. You know, they might even some I've seen rarely, but some even put up a certain genre of music. It's rare that they do that, but they'll
mm,
never say where's the. You want to get real about it? Where's the one gotta go? Food, music, vacation. Like when they put that stuff up, because they know they can't. I can't live without all of these things. I
all of
need
these
these things in
things.
my life.
Yeah, yeah,
Listen, LL said I can't live without my radio. I agree.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, man. Listen, if I was Tom Hanks in that movie Castaway, I don't need Wilson. I need a radio. I need to hear my Michael Jackson. I need to hear some hip hop. I need like I don't need
no, I
Wilson.
love LL, bro. LL is my guy. LL is the one. LL is just, he's crazy to me. Like, think
Yeah,
about
Still,
it.
yeah,
He does everything.
still locked in
He'll take your
to this
girl,
day.
he'll whisper, he'll tell you a funny story like Milky Cereal, and he'll eat every MC's face on the mic at the same time
yes,
and end their career. Like,
Hmm
the guy is just untouchable. He got hits, he could perform, he's still out here, he's done so much to impact the culture. He started Def Jam. Like, what else do you want
He's a
from a man?
businessman. Yeah, does it all.
yeah,
I love LL Cool J. LL, if you ever out there, I want to meet you one day.
It's a
LL,
collab right there.
yeah,
Facts.
LL.
yeah,
I
yeah. Hey, listen, if we can make it happen, LL, I don't. I know you're probably watching this. I mean, why wouldn't you? You know what I mean?
Right. Hold on, hold on,
Yeah,
hold on, hold on, hold on. Let me make a call real quick. Hold on.
yeah, yeah. Cause see if you can
Well,
get
and
him.
it's funny
Yeah,
too.
because
Think about this, right? He got
You
a lot
never
of
know.
flack for doing Walking with the Panther in that era, right? But if you
Uh-huh.
listen to that Walking with the Panther and the image that he was presenting in that era, right? He was doing like the luxury kind of puffy
Mm,
look
hmm
way
Before.
before that Bad Boy era, like
Right.
celebrating riches. I got the fattest gold, the flyest
Chains.
outfit. I got a panther, bro. Like, you know, like just crazy, like show offy shit. Like
They
you
weren't
didn't see
ready.
that in the Bad Boy era, like that at
Right.
scale.
right, right.
He was doing that in the Public Enemy era. So the consciousness era and poor righteous teachers and stuff. So people are like, oh man, he's missing the mark, but he just too ahead of his time with it,
He
man.
was ahead of his time.
I'm a super LL
Facts.
fan. No you can
Yeah,
tell.
it's true. I mean, listen, just to give you an example, like LL's been around, so he's one of the few artists. There's only a handful of them that have transitioned throughout each era that we've gone into, each decade, right? And somehow he's always stayed relevant and in multiple things, like even in acting. Like
Mm,
he's a chameleon. He just knows how to get along. You know what I mean? But the other thing is, as you guys, talking about Rogers bringing up as well, like he's also been ahead of the curve in certain things. He's been at the forefront of certain things. Even and this is the reason why I'm thinking about this. LL has a song most of you may not know, or nah, I'm sure a lot of you know by now, called Headsprung, right? Let me
mhm,
tell you something about this song. Okay. And I don't think I'm being wrong when I say this. When Headsprung first came out, it did not have the type of success or acclaim that he would have hoped for when it came out. That
mm,
song was a little funky. It was different. And I don't think people were ready for that song. Right.
mm,
But now, when you go back and you look at LL's catalog, you hear Headsprung to this day. people are rocking to that song. It's got memes, it's everywhere. They call me big. You know what I mean? Like they love that, and that song is hitting. It's just all about your time. Like, you could be
Mhm.
ahead of the curve, and then when your time hits, out of here.
Yeah.
LL's that dude, man.
I loves that dude, bro. He's that dude. Don't front
Yeah,
on him.
man.
He's LL's in superhero form. He's the Superman in the superhero comic world.
Yeah,
You know what I
he's
mean? He
superhero.
really
Hundred
is.
percent. Hundred
I don't
percent.
know why people don't call his name on lists. That motherfucker deserves to be on lists.
People want to
Yeah,
hate
that,
on L
I
sometimes
say,
because he's
hey,
a little cocky with it, but he's nice. You know
He
what I mean?
deserves to be
Like,
cocky. Go do half the shit he did. Go do half the shit he
yeah.
did and then come talk. He deserved to be cocky. He should
What
true.
be
what it
cocky.
what it is the hate is like, man, he probably bagged my shorty. So that's part of it.
Maybe that's the
That's
first
part
time
of
you ever
it.
take your girl
There
and
could be some truth there.
you
There
cocky.
may be some. That's where that the writers are like, because the writers are the ones who blog it. Like they're the ones who put those top three MCs, all of that. They the one that it's the writers, and half of them are Geek Squad anyway. So it's like, well, really,
Yeah.
you're not in the same element. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Um, so what we want to do now, guys, is as you see, we kicked off the show with a joint already with Roger Mooking featuring Malachi. And that song was called Never Thought. We got a couple more joints. They're shorter joints, but it's a concept, and we're going to talk a little bit about that right when we come back. Want to play that for you guys so you get a little peek into what's going to be released very shortly. Actually, you know what? I'm bugging out. It was already released. I apologize. Should have been released this week, so you should already be able to get it. And we'll talk a little bit more about where you can find everything in a little bit. But let's get into that.
You know it's my birthday, my birthday. Happy anniversary to me, it's just an Earth day. Oh, it's my birthday, my birthday. Happy anniversary to me, it's just an Earth day. Wow. So isn't this amazing? Everything is so loud. It's like a cloud open up. I'm so clean, like I'm all soaked up, and all the love I can soak it up. We can all soak it up, cause it's my birthday, my birthday. Happy anniversary to me, it's just an Earth day. Oh, it's my birthday, my birthday. Happy anniversary to me, it's just an Earth day. Stuck on stupid on, stuck on stupid on, stuck on stupid on. Stuck on stupid on, stupid on, stupid on, stupid on, stupid on, stupid on, stuck on stupid on, 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 stupid on. Hey, Mr. Humanoid over here thinking I lied for a sec. I guess the worst you could do is you might get upset, so here we go. When did everybody get to go nuts so? I thought the whole goal was to get not so, like a Nazi. Not so, right on the right side of history, I guess you could wish for a bright side. But that would be stupid, like making the same mistakes. Like killing brain cells just to save some space. Stupid. Stupid on, stupid on, stupid on, stupid on, stupid on, stupid on, stuck on, stupid 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 on, stupid.
All right, and we are back. So as you guys can see, we just saw It's My Birthday and Stuck on Stupid in the mashup that we put together there. Shout out to Roger Mooking for giving us access to this off of his new project that just was released. You can get that this week. So I think it's very interesting, and this is what I was kind of alluding to when we started the show, Roger, that I was trying to figure out, you know, like I could kind of see you creating an experience. This is how I explained it to my son because my son and I used to watch you chef it up, right? And so I kind of like I feel like he is creating an experience where I could see myself walking into. Oh, there you go. I guess that's why you have that name, the Roger Mooking Experience. Very nice. I can see myself walking into a building, right? you know, walking in. As soon as I walk in, I hear the music. It's Roger Mooking in the background, right? And then as I'm going, I'm meeting people, whatever. I'm checking my coat, blah, blah, blah. Going into a restaurant area. I see there's screens on the TV with different art, different visual animations popping up, stimulating my mind. I got the music stimulating my ears. And then we're in a restaurant, the food's coming out, stimulating my palate. I feel like
Mhm.
you're like a one-stop shop for stimulating what we love as humans. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
know what's the rationale behind the animated music and how you, but I'm thinking that's kind of like you're onto something with that. But tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, man. I think like okay. So those two songs that you just played, thanks, man, are from the album Sound Bites. So this really ties into the whole thing, right? So right now, the average human attention span is about
Hmm.
8.25 seconds, which is shorter than that of a goldfish, right? Because we're so inundated with so much media, social media, we just scroll, 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 right? Okay. So now with that, I wanted to make an when I was started going to studio, I really had a concept for this one called Sound Bites. So on the Sound Bites album is 19 compositions, and the total running time is 19 minutes only. No
Mm.
song is longer than 1 minute and 30 seconds to kind of play with this short attention span of everybody in the world right now. The shortest song is 8 seconds
Mm,
and the longest is 1 minute and 30, and there's 19 songs, right? So
Mm.
when I started formulating this concept of sound bites, that's why Stuck on Stupid is so short. That's
mm,
why It's My Birthday is so short. Then I
Mm.
added another layer around that where I wanted to mirror the cycle of life. So the first third of the album is called the learning, and that takes you from conception to adolescence. And then the
Mm.
second movement of the album, and if you listen to the whole album, it's kind of very distinct and clear. The second movement is called the living, and then so in the living takes you from adolescence to through adulthood, and the music becomes more
Mm.
complex. Like the first movement is like It's My Birthday, very simple. The lyrics are very simple because the two songs preceding it, one is the conception. The second song is like you're in the womb. And then the third song on Sound Bites is It's My Birthday, where you're born now. So it's very
Mm.
simple. The lyrics are very simple. The music is very simple. The lyrics are very simple because it's like everything is so loud. It's like a cloud open up. Like literally, it's your birthday and you out the womb, right? And then
Mm.
so you go into the next movement and you start to live, and it's like Stuck on Stupid. There's just so much stupidity, man. You go through this social media, it's just like one stupid video after another, and we just continue to perpetuate this thing. And I wanted to kind of streamline that moment into this 1 minute and 30-second form factor, right? And then the third movement of sound bites is called the leaving, and it takes you from adulthood to end of life, and the music becomes a lot more rounder and softer, some choral vocals. The approach to the vocal is a little bit more deep and somber. The content and the lyrics are kind of playing around, end of life kind of thoughts, more reflective and stuff like that. So if you listen to the
Mm.
album from beginning to end, no skips, you really go on this journey and you really feel this journey. And so, unbeknownst to people, for like the last decade, I've been in my house like doing painting and stuff like that, and photography and like stuff that, another layer of just creativity, right? And I finally felt kind of, I guess, ready, prepared in this moment to kind of share that part of my life with the world. So I started matching all of the visual work to the songs. So each song has a visual piece. And you see, like in It's My Birthday, it's all this animated stuff, and Stuck on Stupid, it's all animated. I brought in an animator who took all of the visual artworks for those songs,
Mm.
and he animated it using the components of those visuals. So really it's trying to bring the art to life in a kind of modern contemporary way, right? Um, and by the time this is, you're gonna have I Can't Stand It is out, and we activate the art even more. So then I took, these paintings, the music, and the music really informed all the paintings. And then there's a history, human history around micro stories, right? So some like Japan and China, they do this where very common. They do this where they make like these very parable like stories that have a very specific form factor, like 500 words max. So I kind of took that principle and made micro stories with a 100 word count max to kind of play on
Wow.
this attention deficit format, right? So now you have an album, which is the soundtrack and is the starting point. You have the visuals, and then you have these micro stories. And I packaged them all up in a book. And that book is out now too. It's called Curious Sounds. And I realized it was such an outlandish kind of concept. It's kind of like a movie in your hand, right? There's stories, there's music, there's visuals. But how do you explain that to somebody? Because it's just a new kind of outlandish kind of concept. So I brought in this really incredible, award-winning Nigerian female author who came in and just she sat down. We traveled to each other's city. We talked for hours over Zooms, and then she wrote essays about all of the artwork, all of the stories, all of the music, and our mutual love for creativity and how we came to creativity in our lives and what our journeys are to kind of contextualize it all. So, all of that stuff you're seeing is really a culmination of the music, the art, the stories, and the essays, and this collaboration on this book called Curious Sounds. So, and
Hmm.
that and the album sound bites, they live together, man, and it's just a very dynamic thing. It's kind of taken my music making into a different kind of realm, and the conceptually, this really highly conceptual album. And when you have the book in your hands and you see and you feel this thing, it really is a whole world. Hold up.
Hmm.
Yeah, see,
Oh, look
that's the
that.
Yeah.
book right there. Right, that's the book. And if you go in, you see like the "It's My Birth," and it's all the lyrics for all the songs. All the lyrics for all the songs are in there. So you see like a bunch of the artworks. The artworks are in here, and all this kind of stuff, right? And then they all
Super
have
Right.
the
dope.
stories with them and stuff. So that, and inside of this, a lot of more artwork, all my original artwork. But inside here, check this out. This is so dope. This is the Soundbites album cover, but peep the QR code in the
Oh
book, right?
yeah.
So you can
Put
see
you
the
right in
artwork,
there.
Uh,
and it's a soundtrack to the whole book with all of the art,
Nice.
all of the music, and
that's
all of the
dope. Really good
visuals and all
idea.
that stuff, man. So it's kind of bringing all my creativity to the forefront. There's not one single recipe in this book. So if you're looking for recipes, there's no recipe. You can still get the Everyday Exotic Cookbook out there
Right.
in places, but this is like a whole new adventure, man, and I'm really excited about it. I really love it, man. It's been so fun to make.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's dope.
I could see some of this like in the near future becoming a part of sort of a master class and creating music and art and sort of helping young artists develop to like learning what how to put these things together, these elements together, because hip hop in general started off of elements, right? You had five elements of hip hop, right? And so we don't talk about, how you weave them together in the work that you do as an artist. We just focus our energy on just one aspect of it, which is either rhyming or DJing, or you're just dancing. Now you're weaving all of these elements together, and part of the elements of, of the five elements of hip hop outside of the DJing part, right? And the dance. So you got three
And what's
elements.
not obvious about this, and I didn't explain that, is that this is really birthed from the concept of hip hop. So, like for
Facts.
instance, you might see one visual piece on a page in the book, but what I've done is, I've painted with painting on acrylics, for example. I'll give one example of one painted painting with acrylics, and the painting may be this big, but I'll photograph this much of it in the corner, and I'll take that one little corner, and I'll take a corner of another painting that I did, and I sample them basically, and I mash them together to create one original composition of visual
Mm.
art. So when I say I'm really born and raised in hip hop, bro, like this thing, even in the artwork, how I execute the artwork, I'm sampling visuals, right? And throwing them, and you don't know as the observer, if you don't know where the sample is coming from, the Puffy sample, Duran Duran for Biggie. If you don't know that, you just think, oh no, no, notorious, yeah, blah, 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 right? So
Right.
same way with these visuals, man. If you don't know how the process went down, I was sampling my own original works. It's like making my own break beats and then sampling them and putting drums over that shit on the SP. Like
Yeah,
so that
Mm.
was the approach to the visuals. So it's a super hip hop thing,
that's
man.
super
Actually,
dope, man. That is
Wow.
super dope. Super dope.
I knew it. I knew it, man. I knew that, when I saw that, and then I saw the actual uh piece, I was like, man, this is okay. There's a lot going on here that we gotta tap into this. We gotta figure out where's this coming from. There's a lot here.
because you get the
Yeah.
sense like looking at those, what is this about? This is a different kind of thing, and like there's more to this. You know what I mean? And why is it all these
Hmm.
animations and like painted visuals? And so that's kind of part of the tease. The rollout is kind of is teasing that moment. And man, you don't even understand the kind of ideas that we have to continue to roll this thing out over the next
But
while.
I
that's
can
gonna be dope.
imagine. I'm sure. I mean, listen. After what you've already told us about your creativity and how I'm sure it's going to be interesting and definitely something to behold of, because you got. I mean, all this stuff. You've touched on so many different things, creating buildings and all these other different things that you had your hand in. Like, I mean, I don't. You must have so much. It's like it's one of those artists that sometimes you run into a person that has so much creativity, you just don't know what to do with all of it. Like, it's all in here. I got to get it out. And like I said, once again, it's about knowing yourself and knowing, because sometimes that can also be a detriment to you. Sometimes you could be such a creative person, you don't have an outlet, you don't even know where to release this stuff, and it might be not necessarily to your benefit to have that stuff stored in. But when you're able to kind of start putting it out there in the world, once it's first off, it's freeing. I don't want to get too deep into this, but it's
Yeah, no, but
freeing
it's
to get
real.
all that stuff out. And then the other thing is, um, you appreciate it too. You appreciate those thoughts and that different creativity that you had. So it makes you feel better about yourself as well. Like, it's really, really cool. Really cool.
Yeah, man, it's just just trying to find different ways to create expression and then deal with that. Like that's really what it's about, right? Expanding the portfolio, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's definitely dope, man, and I'm really so thankful to have you here to be able to get into the mind of Roger Mooking, understand what's going on and what you've been up to. If you don't mind, what is actually going on as far as, so you got the book out now at this point, you will have the music is
The
out.
album will come out a
um
few days apart.
Right, right. And so what else is in store for you going forward?
I don't like to talk about stuff. You see, like if I was talking about this for the last 5 years, you'd be like, "Oh, okay." Blah, 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 blah." I just like to drop it on you. You know what I mean?
That's
Like I
smart.
don't
Ah,
always a multitude of things. And then boom, one day you find out I got a book and I'm painting and making all these records and boom, 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 boom. So I'm always on like a 20-year plan. I'm always thinking like what's 10, 20 years ahead? What's the moves I'm making now? How
mhm.
is that going to impact the next decade and 2 decades? And
Wow.
that's how I operate. So I'm always kind of moving in this thing. From what you've seen of me now, man, I've executed maybe like 20% of what's in my brain. So there's lots, man. It's a lot.
The,
Wow.
the the great thing about it though is also you're pushing the needle forward in this genre, in the music, just in general. Like just by this conceptualing what you've put out right now as a whole, as a body of work with this project, it's basically pushing the needle forward, showing the youth that there's a lot more to this game than just pen and pad. You know what I mean? And I appreciate
Appreciate
that
that.
as an artist, man. That's super dope, and super creative, and it's empowering. It's empowering for the generations to come to really see what you're doing and the impact that this is going to create in this world. I guarantee you, this is going to create an impact.
Well, I think I appreciate that, man. I really appreciate it a lot. But I think if, when it goes back to it, right? I'm not strategic, my brother.
Right.
I just make my mood. And if
Hmm.
everybody actually went in the studio and made their mood, there's gonna be a Prince, there's gonna be a
Right.
Michael Jackson, there's
Right.
gonna be a Beyonce, there's gonna
Mm,
be a Jay-Z, there's gonna be a
Right.
De La Soul, there's gonna be a MOP, there's gonna be a Sade. Those people
Hmm.
go in and make their mood.
Right.
Right?
Right.
mm,
There's no way you could tell me like all
Right.
these records sounding the same, everybody's in the same mood because
Right.
nobody's the same, my brother. So, that's strategy and like
Yeah.
politics
Yeah.
and industry, and
right.
that's cool. I don't knock your beat. It's all good. Do your
Right.
thing. But I do art for that.
Right.
I do this like for survival. So I think if you're operating from that place, just what comes out is guaranteed to be unique. You know.
That's
Right.
wonderful, man.
Right.
That's why this
Yeah.
conversation is inspiring. That's exactly the reason why. And folks need to hear this, you know?
Bless, dog.
Yeah, man. And guys, listen, if you want to, follow the journey of Roger Mookie and what different stuff he's got going on and what he'll be dropping on us in the future, best way to do it is to find him on Instagram at Roger Mooking. I will say one thing about him that I mean, I kind of already knew that by watching him chef it up a little bit, but when you see him on Instagram, it's kind of like more like it seems like real life. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
TV is one thing, but like he's a funny guy. He cracks jokes with the guy. I remember I commented, he's a funny guy. He makes some really funny jokes, and he follows the set, the cast. I mean the people around on the set when they're doing stuff, and like it's just you got to watch it. You appreciate it, and you're like, it's chill dude.
Yeah, yeah. I actually have a very love-hate relationship with the social media thing, so I just do what I like to do. Really, I'm just having fun with myself most of the time, to be
Mm,
honest.
yeah. Yeah, well, it makes it enjoyable for me. I mean, I like once again, it goes back to, sometimes it's cool to be a human, just act human, just do
Just
human
act
things,
human, bro. Like, it's all good, man.
Yeah.
It's all good. Life is too short.
Yeah,
I look at it like
I
this, right?
agree.
Everybody walks around like they are the center of their universe. Most people walk around with that mindset. This person said this to me, or my mother did this to me, or my boss did this to me. So you are the central character in your own universe. But
Mm.
then you go on a plane, or you look at astronomy, or you read about quantum physics, and you realize we are just all each a speck of dust on top of 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 a
Mm,
speck of dust on the back of a pinhead on the back of a speck of dust on top of another speck of dust. And we're truly powerful, but also simultaneously inconsequential. And I think once you have that kind of mindset, it really puts you in a humble place. And you're like, yo, we
mm,
just all people out here trying to do and understand ourselves and move through the world. And we all have our different ways of moving through the world. And my way of moving through the world is through creativity. So let me explore the depth and the breadth of all of that, because that's what my central focus is. But I realize again, I'm just a speck of dust, speck of dust, speck of dust, speck of dust, speck of dust. And when I die, nobody cares.
Right.
Right?
wow.
So
Yeah.
while I'm here, I'm going to just try and uplift humanity, inspire other people, create things, because I think creativity is the source of godliness.
Right.
Man, I don't know. What can I say after that? I mean, this is
Drop the mic.
This
Drop the mic.
is earnest. So like, I'm not
It's real
ashamed
though. It's real.
with some jokes and
yeah,
some stupid shit that happened to me, because stupid shit
Yeah.
happened to everybody, dog. Like, we just out here, we just
Right.
out here.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean, listen, man. Yeah, yeah. I mean, come on. Like, this is another truth bomb, man. First he hit us with the Lakers truth bomb, and now he's hitting us with the life truth bomb. That might be a little, I might have just spurred some more creativity. The truth bomb, like, it might be coming out in something, but we'll just wait and see. Um, so Roger, how can everybody get the book and or the music at this point?
Oh man, it's gonna be on all. It's all. Sorry, the music is on all streaming platform, every one of them. So go peep it there. If you pick up the book, you see you can hit the QR code in the book and go directly to the whole link tree or wherever you want to stream it
Hmm.
from. The book will be available everywhere, man. You can go online and buy it. You can go in stores and buy it. So yeah, man, just check it out. Curious Sounds is the name of the
Hmm.
book. The album is called Sound Bites.
Dope. And you also you have your restaurant in the airport is it Toronto?
Yeah, Pearson Airport and YYZ in Toronto is called Twist by Roger Mooking, man. We've been there like 9 years now, so
Nice.
some interesting things on the food and beverage restaurant front happening right now as well, so look out for some more interesting kind of stuff you hear to hear it first,
Man.
Yes, sir.
There you go, guys. Listen, all I can say is this has been a pleasure, a true treat, and very informative. Interesting to talk to someone who can kind of lay it out there in the most simplest and plain way, but it makes so much sense. Like, yeah, yeah, right. You know what? He's right. I wish more people talk like that. Like, you could just like, yeah, that makes sense. That's right.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
don't
I'm
get a
not
lot of that.
smart, bro, but I'm not stupid.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, no, I listen. Hey, that there you go. I think there's a lot of people moving through life that they may not know what they are, and that's why they're doing a lot of stupid stuff.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah. I'm gonna
stuck,
put that on
all
a t-shirt,
all stupid,
by the
all
way.
stupid, all stuck, all stupid.
There
Um,
you go. Well, thank you once again, Roger. I appreciate you, and I hope that you have much success with the new album and the new book. And listen, if I am going to make it to Canada one day, I think I'm going to have to go to Toronto and make it to Twist because I got to
Yeah,
check that
that's
out.
man.
right.
Toronto is dope, man. Toronto in the summer, especially, is one of the best places on earth. I'm not gonna lie. I've been to a bunch of places on earth. Toronto in the summer is special, dog.
Nice.
Mm,
Oh, we got to
dope.
make it a trip, Ron. Yeah,
Yeah.
gotta bring the wife sometime, right? You gotta bring the
You
wife
got
somewhere.
gotta do something, you know what I mean? Yeah, why not? Why not? All right, so we're gonna drop you down, Roger, and close out the show, but hang tight. Don't go anywhere just yet. We'll be
For
right
sure.
back with you. All right. Wow, John. So that was really, really dope, man. Really great experience just to have Roger here and chop it up with him. To me, it was very special, like I said, because I followed him, watching him chef it up on Man Fire Food and other cooking shows and stuff, and just to get into this whole realm of hip hop with him, his mind, the creativity, get into the animation, the book,
Yeah.
the just this, and then the layers of how this whole thing has been put together with hiring people to come in and do animation, getting the Nigerian writer to come in and kind of put the words together for the book and really go through the whole process. The QR, like all these different things. It's very ingenious, like really smart thinking, man.
Yeah, it was inspiring. Like I said, I loved the content today. I was extremely happy to have him on. And thank you, Ron, for making sure I made it. You know what I mean? Just making sure that I was available and to be a part of this interview. I graciously thank you. And I thank all of our viewers out there tuning in. Um, if you're gonna miss one, this ain't the one to miss. So definitely tune in, replay it back, share it with a friend. You know what I mean? Put the word out there. There's actually real hip hop being created in this world. We don't have to fantasize about what could possibly be available to us. Artists like Roger Mooking is important to support and to highlight because they're not a dime a dozen. I promise you, there are very few individuals who can make a mark in this way, and I think he's onto something here. So I really
Yeah.
appreciate him for coming on our platform and sharing that and sharing his gifts with us.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely special because he didn't have to do that, and I appreciate him, and I also appreciate his guy Evan for working with me to make this all happen. Because
Shout out to Evan.
yeah, man, appreciate Evan, man. So guys, it's that time of the show. I know you don't want to go anywhere. I know, but you got to. We can't stay here all night. I'm sorry, but guess what? Guess what happens next Thursday? We'll be back again. So come on, don't even worry about it. It's all right. John, your final words, my brother?
As always, all of you out there, stay blessed, stay healthy, and stay tuned. I'm looking forward to the next one. I'll see y'all next week. God willing.
There you go, man. Listen, I couldn't have said it better myself. John always knows how to end the show. It's got the right words. But if I had words, what would they be? Oh, I get it. Tell a friend to tell a friend, tell a friend. Still, Nick fans will be back again, whether it be on Thursday nights at 8:30 for the NBA wrap up on NBK. That's right, nothing but Knicks Network, or on Saturdays at 11:30 a.m. for your boy Ron on Know the Ledge. I got to talk you Nick fans off the ledge. You know how we do. And let's not forget on Mondays with Ron, John, and my brother Jose for SKF Weekly at 9 p.m. on Monday nights. We'll get you, your Knicks, fix and tell you what happened this past week. We try. So stay tuned. There's always going to be more and more content we're coming back with, and we appreciate you guys for rocking with us and supporting us. Smash that like button, especially for this show and Roger Mooking, man. Come on, man. Listen. You don't get this everywhere. And if you do get it, I don't care. You got it here. But before we go, let's take a quick look at this message about the NBA wrap up. Thank you for watching the NBA wrap up. If you would like to be on the show and you are a hip hop artist or a beat maker / producer, please hit us up. Email us at the NBA wrap up at gmail.com or DM us on Instagram at the_NBA_wrap_up. And stay tuned for more and more content coming from the NBA wrap up. Still, Knick fans, nothing but Knicks. Please support our shows. We appreciate you. Later. All right, guys, take care. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great rest of your night. Enjoy yourselves. Do something fun this weekend, whatever it is. But I think the theme of this show should be human. You know what I mean? All right. We out of here.
Run that, 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 run that,